Hey everyone, in this video I just want to talk a little bit about workplace learning and training of employees. Whenever we undertake investigations, it seems that pretty much 100% of investigations at some stage will pick up issues and shortfalls with training of staff. Having been in the L&D space myself for many years, I've seen firsthand, what good training looks like, and then obviously the effects if the training's not done properly. So I think there's a few things that employers need to consider when they're looking at staffing and workplace training. I think the first thing people need to be doing is fully mapping out every single role in their organisation and looking long and hard at what training's needed to do that role. It's really common where we'll see people focus on the core parts of the job. So, for example, a warehouse operator, they'll say that they need forklift training. They need training in the computer system, which might be SAP or something like that. But then we forget about the other skills that are involved in that job. So there's probably telephone things they need to know. They need to know how to use the computer systems for the dispatching and couriering and so forth, and many other aspects. If we look at a receptionist, for example, it's easy to say they need telephone and communication skills, but there might be other parts of that role that they need to understand as well. And again, that might be around communication, that might be around, again, Office 365 and that suite of products and things like that. So it's important that we map out all the training that people need and not just focus on the main things. We then need to develop the programs that go with those. And again, we don't need to get hung up and say that we need a full-blown training package which might include presentation tools and assessments and so forth. I mean, some of them it could be as simple as a checklist-based type thing. So if we go back to the receptionist, it might just be a quick checklist that we run through that, we answer the phone within 3 rings. This is how we answer the phone. This is how we put the phone on hold. This is how we transfer a call. This is how we use the intercom, things like that. It doesn't need to be a full formal training package. Having said that, there's lots of options now. In 2019, the world of e-learning and online learning is just incredible. I know for ourselves, we've just purchased a license which has given us access to over 1,500 online training modules that we now host on our LMS internally. And we're in the process ourselves of mapping out everyone's training, which is ironic given the role that we do, but it's probably not something that we've looked at long and hard, which is not uncommon. I mean, a lot of companies will do that. I've said previously, as L&D people, we often look at everyone's L&D requirements, but then forget about our own. So as I said, map out all the training that's needed for a role, not just focus on the main parts of the role, focus on all aspects of the role, map it all out, and then start to develop those training and assessment tools. If we look at that from an incident investigation perspective, when we turn up or the regulator turns up to undertake an investigation, you can clearly show that someone has been trained to do their role. You've taken them through the journey from here through to here, from not competent through to competent in each aspect of their role. The other thing for a good thing about doing this is it gives people a chance to look at career development opportunities. I worked with one company that had every single role from literally the warehouse person right through to the general manager mapped out. At any stage, you could look at the role, not the person's training, but the role, and see what was needed to do that role. And that was really good for things like career progression, because you could look and say, look, next year I wanted to get that job, and this is what I need to do to get that job. So when that job was advertised and you applied, you could already show that you've undertaken the training or most of the training. It was all clearly mapped out for people. Let me know your thoughts, because I'm really curious to see how people do this. There's not many companies that I've worked with that do go to the nth degree when it comes to mapping out training and providing workplace training. It's often seen as an expense. It's a time thing, and absolutely it is. There's no doubt about it. But the benefits are absolutely massive. Welcome your thoughts. Drop a comment below.